How you going, guys? Curtis from Cutting Edge Engineering. So today's job, we have a Hitachi EX1900 boom lift cylinder rod in for repair. So an EX1900 is a 190 ton excavator and they are generally used only in mining operations. On an excavator this size, the boom lift cylinders are in pairs. So there is one on each side of the arm and these do all of the heavy lifting. On a standard size excavator, the cylinders run with the barrel down to the machine and the cylinder rod up to the arm of the excavator. On mining machinery, they run them upside down. And one of the reasons for that is it stops dirt and debris sitting on top of the cylinder, destroying the lip seals and then material getting down inside the cylinder and destroying it from the inside. With a lot of civil and construction excavators, they might be running a hydraulic rock breaker. That will pretty much shoot material all over the machine. And if those chrome rods were upside down in the same configuration as a mining machine, the chrome work would get peppered with rocks and it would damage it and they would begin to leak. But mining machinery don't run hydraulic rock breakers. They generally just dig, load it into a truck, so the cylinder rods are pretty safe where they are. This is a genuine Hitachi rod. It hasn't been re-rodded and I can tell that by the weld that holds the eye onto the rod. It is very narrow where they have used submerged arc to attach the two, which is what they do from factory. So it's come in for repair because the chrome layer is starting to flake off. There are a lot of rust spots within the chrome layer and there is also surface fractures in the chrome. Even though the chrome damage doesn't look that bad, it does cause a lot of issues later on down the track. Those areas that are missing the chrome layer, every time they cycle through the head flange or the gland of the hydraulic cylinder, they tear apart the seals and the cylinder starts to leak. When they start to leak, the machines get stood down and those parts need to be replaced for environmental purposes here in the mining industry of Australia. The chrome on cylinder rods does not last forever. Over time it will show signs of wear. So this cylinder rod would be a perfect candidate for re-chroming, but at the moment getting anything re-chromed here in Australia is taking a ridiculous amount of time for the customers to get it back. You may remember we did a crack repair on a 651 ejector cylinder rod about 4.5 months ago. My customer still hasn't got that back from being re-chromed. Because their spare cylinder is now on the machine, if something was to go wrong with one of the two cylinders that are already on there, that machine would be stood down. And a machine that size being stood down for 4.5 months would cost thousands and thousands of dollars. So the customer decided to get us to re-rod this one so they can then have a spare cylinder on the shelf ready to go. So this rod alone weighs just under a ton. It is 3.7 meters long, or 12 banana leaves. So because it's 3.7 meters long, we can't run it in our front line lathe because it's only got 3.3 between centers. So we will be putting this in our big lathe. Our Shenyang can swing 800 mil by 5.5 meters long. So we're going to get this set up so we can start removing the eye. Righto guys, so we've got that set up, everything's running really good, I'm really happy with that. You may notice that I'm only supporting the end of the shaft off a live centre. That is an Australian made Daintree live centre and it can support 4 tonne, 10 mil from the tip, but they are tested up to 8 tonne. So That center will handle that all day long. So I'm going to set up the steady rest, but before I do that, I just want to buff down the area where my rollers from my steady are going to be running. I've just replaced them and I don't want to damage them. So we're just going to use a buffing wheel to polish that area so it's got a nice clean surface to run on. Righto, so I'm going to change out the tool because I'm running into interference between the tool body and the cylinder rod. This tool will only go so deep before the sides of the tool start rubbing on the job. I'm going to change that out to our shop-made tool, which is effectively known as Chopper. I don't generally start with this because it is a bit of a problematic tool. It can run into chatter and stuff like that just because of its overall length. So I remove the bulk of the material with a button insert and then use this just to get it all the way to depth. Righto, so I've found the spigot that attaches the eye onto the rod. It's basically there as a centering and a structural point for when it's being welded, so the eye doesn't want to fall off the rod. So now what I need to do, I need to grab the eye with the crane, get rid of the tailstock, and we'll remove it off the rod. So while we've got the eye off the rod, I will be pressing out the old bush because it is damaged, but after we've machined up the new rod and welded the eye on and it has cooled down, I can install the new bushing. Oh, we're good. So now that that's done, we can get on to machining up the new rod. So the piece of material we're going to be using, it is a piece of induction hardened chrome bar. It's 200mm in diameter and 3.3 meters long. Righto, so we've got our new piece of chrome bar set up ready to start machining. First thing I need to do is remove the induction layer off it. It is extremely thick, and to remove the induction layer we're going to be using a WNGA ceramic insert. So we're through the extremely thick induction hardened layer. I'm going to change out now to a carbide insert. I'm going to rough the rod down to within 1 mil of its finished size, and then we're going to have to let it cool off because I don't have coolant on the lathe at the moment, and that is because the pump is actually frozen at seas. So we're just going to have to let it cool off by itself. Righto guys, so that is the rough turning done. There is a fair bit of heat left in that rod, so I'm not going to do any of the finer details. I'm going to let that cool down for a couple of hours, and then we'll get back into it again. Drop it, drop it, stay. Get it. Righto guys, so that's cooled down enough now. We can continue with the machining. So the first thing we're going to finish off is the area where the piston and the cushion bearing fit. Then we'll do the area where the thread is, where the nut screws on to hold the piston and the cushion onto the rod. And then we will do everything in between as well. Righto guys, so we've got all of the details done on the rod. What I need to do now is thread it. So I'm not as familiar with the Shanyang as I am with our frontline lathe. The other lathe, I would just throw a thread pitch into it and start cutting. This one, because I'm not that familiar with it, I'm not going to do a scratch pass, I'm going to do a pen pass. That's where I will set its thread pitch and I will simply put a Nikko pen on the side of the tool, engage the half nuts and make sure my thread pitch is correct, because I do not want to make a mistake on a piece of material that is worth this many thousands of dollars.
Beautiful.
Righto guys, so that is all the machining done on this end. What I need to do now is take the material out of the lathe, turn it around so we can start doing the other end that the eye attaches to. $31.20 on the button. Like, perfect.
Okay, I can't see.
Come up here.
I'll let that
I'm
go.
holding that. 3120 on the button. Righto guys, so that is the rod completed for the machining side of it. What I need to do now is take it out of the lathe, take it over to our welding area so we can weld the eye onto our new rod. Righto guys, so the welding is completed on our cylinder rod. That was about 2 hours of non-stop welding and we used about 5 kilos of wire. It is far too hot to do anything with, so we are just going to let this cool down overnight, so we will see you in the morning. What's this? What's up there?
Good boy.
Right, now that that's all done, there's just one more thing we need to do, and that is press in the new bush. So we're going to take it over to the press and get it set up. So that is the 1900 boom lift rod all completed. Really happy with how everything went. There is over $10,000 in material here, so I'm really happy to get this one back out the door and back to our customer. Thanks for watching. How am I starting it? Righto, so bonza.
Once upon a time.
Take it over to our welding area so we can weld the eye onto our new rod.
Why aren't you making mistakes?
I don't know.
We have no outtakes.
Are you serious?
You've done very well.
Have I really?
New year, new you.
Oh shit. Righto guys, so goes.
Yep.
Alrighty then, we are set up and
No.
ready. No. Once upon a time, we were set up.
There's a fly.
Righto, so we're gonna say.
Who dat? Yep.
So, fuck off, train.
Jesus, mother.
We're going to be using a WNMGA Talbot ceramic insert.
WNMGA.
WNMGA. And we're going to be using a WN. What is it?
WNGA.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Fuck off.
Who's the machinist here? I'm YouTube qualified. That induction layer is so thick.
Righto guys, so we're through the extremely thick layer of induction hardening. Wait, fuck, where are we going with that? No fucking light over here.
No, I know. Can you see?
Yep. Alright, so I absolutely 100% hate that tool post. It is the most disgusting piece of tooling that someone ever created. So I will come up with something in the future to replace that.
What?
I drove that straight into my hand.
Oh.
Ow! Dented me.
Did it really?
God.
I can't take you seriously with the glove.
That protects my hand. So the people who mentioned about my knuckle being
Yeah, this
people
beer
who
now.
mentioned about my knuckle being messed up, that was due to being burnt through a glove. Not these gloves, another glove.
Yucky.
So that's why I now wear another shield. Can we redo that?
Yeah, that didn't work. Why'd you press the wrong button? Hang on, stay. Don't go under the desk. Hey, come here. Is it surviving? Good boy.
What are you doing? Hey, what you doing? Drop it. Homeless. Homeless. Drop it. Drop it.